5.2 Chapter 52 Wiring Systems. Chapter 52 specifies the requirements for the selection and erection of wiring systems. A wiring system consists of the cables or conductors and their associated supports and fixings, and where necessary, enclosures and protective devices. 5.2.1 describe the types of wiring systems and methods of containment. Chapter 52 applies to cables and conductors, their connections, terminations or joints, their associated supports or suspensions, and their enclosures or methods of protection against external influence. Wiring systems include the chosen methods of containment and the chosen conductor sizes. Wiring systems can consist of bare conductors, unsheathed and uninsulated conductors, non-sheathed cables, single cables that are put in trunking, sheathed cables, single or multi-core cables. The requirements of regulations do not apply to busbar and power track systems. Installation methods of a wiring system in relation to the type of conductor or cable used must accord with tables in Appendix 4. Appendix 4 provides schedules of installation methods in relation to conductors and cables. Table 4A1 tells us conductor and cable methods. 5.2.2 explain the impact of external influences on wiring system selection and installation, including considerations for ambient temperature, water ingress, mechanical stress, and biological factors. The selection and installation of wiring systems must take into account external influences. Where different external influences occur simultaneously, they may have independent or mutual effects, and the degree of protection must be provided accordingly. External influences to consider. Ambient temperature. Wiring systems must be suitable for the highest and lowest local ambient temperatures, ensuring that the limiting temperature in normal operation, and in the case of a fault, is not exceeded. The limiting temperature of conductors should be remembered. For example, the limiting temperature of a thermoplastic is 70 degrees at the conductor. For thermosetting, it is 90 degrees at the conductor, and for MI, it is 105 degrees at the sheath. Water ingress/high humidity. Wiring systems must be selected and erected to ensure that no damage is caused by condensation or ingress of water during installation, use, and maintenance. Wiring systems should employ the IP degree of protection relevant to the particular location where water may collect or condensation may form. Where water may collect or condensation may form, wiring provisions shall be made for its escape. Drain holes are included under IP44 or IP54 socket outlets in case of potential humidity or water buildup. Mechanical stress. Wiring systems must be selected and erected to withstand the levels of mechanical stress liable to occur during installation, use, and maintenance. Consideration should be given to the risks of impact, abrasion, tension, compression, bending, and vibration. Biological factors. Wiring systems must be selected and erected to minimize any harmful effects from flora or fauna. Where biological factors are present, wiring systems should provide suitable protection. Other external influences. External heat sources. To avoid the effects of heat from external sources, one or more methods must be used, such as shielding the cabling from the heat source, placing it sufficiently far from the source of heat, or selecting a system with due regard to the additional temperature rise that may occur. Proximity of non-electrical services. Wiring systems should be installed with adequate separation from non-electrical services, such as gas and water pipes. Corrosive or polluting substances. Wiring systems must be selected and erected such that they are not liable to damage by corrosive or polluting substances that may be present. By carefully considering these external influences during the design and installation phases, electrical systems can be implemented safely and reliably in a variety of environments. 5.2.3 cover regulations for bare conductors, sheathed cables, and non-sheathed cables. Chapter 52 addresses regulations for different types of wiring systems. Bare conductors. These are unsheathed and uninsulated conductors. Sheathed cables. These are single or multi-core cables with a protective outer sheath. Non-sheathed cables. These are single cables that are run inside of a trunking or other enclosure for protection. When selecting wiring systems, it is important to know that basic protection is achieved with insulation and barriers, while fault protection is achieved with earthing, bonding, and protective devices. Whenever a cable is no longer sheathed, it must be placed in an enclosure. Cables from which the sheath has been removed and non-sheathed cables at the termination of a conduit ducting will be enclosed again. Absent a layer of protection, the wiring system will fail to achieve basic and fault protection. 5.2.4 emphasize the importance of secure support for wiring systems to prevent fire-related collapse. Wiring systems must be supported to prevent premature collapse in the event of a fire. Any wiring system where a cable is high up over a ceiling must be securely fixed so that the cables do not collapse in a fire, entrapping firefighters. This regulation has been expanded and is no longer just for escape routes. It is now in all wiring systems. It is important to conduct a suitable risk assessment to ensure that all wiring systems have sufficient support. The wiring system should be installed so the general building structural performance and fire safety are not reduced.